When we think of PLEs or pay-per-views as they used to be known, we think of massive events held by the WWE. But what if I tell you there is a certain PLE slash pay-per-view that was one of the worst attended, actually the worst attended pay-per-view of all time? And then what if I tell you that in 2024, I think that this could be the biggest pay-per-view of the year if they decided to revive it. Now, before we get into the video, if you guys enjoy professional wrestling content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications so you guys can see all the future videos. I'm going to try to get as many out to you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. So the pay-per-view that I'm talking about is called Taboo Tuesday. Eventually Cyber Sunday, but we'll throw that to the side for now. So what exactly was Taboo Tuesday? Taboo Tuesday was a really unique pay-per-view for its time period where the fans, yes, us, we were able to interact by being able to vote on the people that were in the match and stipulations of these matches. Now, on the first ever Taboo Tuesday in 2004, this is the things that you could vote on. You had the opponents for Chris Jericho. You had the outfit for the Fulfill Your Fantasy Diva Battle Royale. Weapons for the Weapon of Choice match, stipulations for the Eugene versus Eric Bischoff match, stipulations for Christy Hemme versus Carmella, the opponent for Triple H, and the stipulation for Randy Orton versus Ric Flair. The unique part about it was it wasn't just any type of stipulations. For example, the Randy Orton versus Ric Flair match, you could either had a steel cage match, which was the winner, false count anywhere match, or a submission match. In very Vince McMahon fashion, the women's battle royale was either a schoolgirl outfit, French maid outfit, or a nurse outfit. And for Christy Hemme against Carmella, it was either a lingerie pillow fight, which ended up winning, an evening gown match, or an aerobics challenge. And the other fun one, in my opinion, was the Eric Bischoff and Eugene match, which the loser eventually had to shave their head, but you had the options of loser has to wear a dress, or loser has to be the winner's servant. Now, you would think a pay-per-view like this would get fans absolutely ecstatic. You now, as a fan, have the opportunity to decide what happens on a pay-per-view. But in 2005, for Taboo Tuesday, a nearly 18,000 person stadium had 6,000 people show up and only 174,000 pay-per-view buys. And you would think there is no way that this card had superstars on it if that happened, right? What if I told you the card was main evented by Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, and John Cena? You had names like Ric Flair on the card, Triple H was on the card, Trish Stratus, Eugene, Carlito, Big Show, I think Mankind, Jimmy Snuka was in there to tag team with Eugene. The card was, in theory, stacked. Now, many people believe that the votes were actually fixed, and WWE always had an idea of who was going to be in the matches, what kind of stipulation was going to be. But if you actually read Chris Jericho's book, he was very adamant that he did not know who was going to be in his matches or what kind of match he was going to be in until literally the night before the event when they finally tallied all the votes together. So the question is, how can an event like this fail? It seems and sounds like the most perfect event for a WWE audience that gets to interact with a scripted television show. I've read a few theories, but I'm going to give you guys a theory of my own. So this is 2004 and 2005. And if you guys are old enough to remember what 04 and 05 was like, there was two ways to vote for this. You can either get on your PC and vote online, or you guys can text a number and, put in what your selections were. In 2004, I had an LG Chocolate, I believe was the name of the phone, or some kind of like LG like flip up phone. And I actually didn't have unlimited text. I think I had 500 text a month or somewhere around that range. So I would 100% not be able to vote in this. And I don't think I did vote in this because I wasn't going to waste my, text that I had available for the month to vote on this stuff. It didn't make any sense for me at the time. I did have a computer that I shared with my dad at the time in 04 because I was a little too young to have my own computer. And my dad wasn't going to let me hop onto the WWE website and start voting on stuff because he really used it for work. The barrier for entry back in 04 and 05 wasn't the easiest when it came to voting for this type of stuff. And as a fan, when you don't feel like you're interacting with something that's interactive, you start losing a little bit of interest. As well as a lot of the matches didn't have like a true build and storyline to it and felt really thrown together just for a cool pay-per-view. And even though 2 titles did change hands in the first and the second one in total, I believe Shelton Benjamin won the Intercontinental title and Big Show and Kane ended up winning the tag titles. You kind of knew what the results were going to be. This was more of a gimmick pay-per-view than it was anything for fans to really look forward to. So it's all doom and gloom for Taboo Tuesday, isn't it? Like, there's no way this type of pay-per-view could do well in 2024. Right? Well, that's where I think the biggest opportunity we've ever seen in the history of WWE is available right here and right now. With how big WWE is across all their social media, I know for a fact if they were to do a Taboo Tuesday or any type of voting type pay-per-view in the year 2024, they would see absolutely record numbers. Not only because of the fact that the internet is more accessible, everyone has a phone that they could literally vote on, but the fact that anyone that votes on it will want to know, number one, did their vote matter? And number two, what did their vote end up getting out of it? The WWE has almost 150 million followers across all their social media. Can you imagine if they put out every single match with a poll on their Twitter, on their YouTube, on their Instagram, on their Snapchat, on their TikTok, just the amount of fan interaction they would have just on that alone? And with the fact that all the PLEs are covered by Peacock, as long as you have a Peacock subscription, I have a feeling that a Taboo Tuesday type event would be the most viewed event they have ever had in the history of the company. I'm talking, I think a rebooted Taboo Tuesday would be bigger than WrestleMania. Just by reach alone, with the fact that these fans would be able to vote on any social media. So if I got to vote and say that Cody Rhodes is going to face Roman Reigns in a Hell in a Cell, I'm going to want to see the result of that. And you know for a fact they are going to have significantly more people voting just by the sheer numbers of social media followers they have alone. And you need to remember, in 2004, we were not as global with professional wrestling. I know for, again, I'm throwing out the word fact too much. Obviously, this is a lot opinion based, but I know for a fact that Europe, Asia, Australia, South America is going to be significantly more involved, as there's no restrictions on this. There's no data rates will apply when it comes to texting these numbers. You can vote from a small country out in Asia all the way down to a small country down in South America, and the vote matters just as much, and it doesn't cost you a penny. Back in 04, if you didn't have an unlimited text plan, you were going to pay 25 cents for every single vote that you did. There's 8 matches. We're looking at $2 just to vote, plus $60 for the pay-per-view. I think the opportunity right now is the biggest the WWE has ever had of making another interactive pay-per-view. And I think that Triple H needs to strike while the iron is hot. Strike while we're either on Peacock or whenever we move over to Netflix, and take whatever opportunity you can to try to get as much fan interaction as possible and have arguably the biggest pay-per-view you could possibly have. Now, this is where I'm going to ask you guys. If WWE was to do a Taboo Tuesday in 2024, do you think it would be successful is my number 1 question. Would you vote is my number 2 question. And would you be excited for the opportunity to interact with it? Or would you much rather not have an interactive pay-per-view and just let Triple H and his creative team decide the direction we're going with every PLE? My final thought is I would love for an interactive pay-per-view. I would love for the opportunity to have your voice be heard and have a little direction when it comes to the creative side of a PLE. With that being said, I hope you guys maybe learned something new today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any cool topics you guys want me to cover, let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget, make sure to subscribe, like the video, turn on notifications, and I hope I'll see you guys on a future video. Much love from me, guys, to you. Peace.